What if I told you that the story of Adam eating an apple isn't about disobedience to God, but about consciousness entering an electromagnetic projection and mistaking it for base reality? What if the fall from grace wasn't punishment, but the inevitable consequence of consuming physical form and becoming trapped in mechanical thinking? What if sin doesn't mean moral failure, but literally means being inside the illusion, separated from unity, identified with projection instead of source? I'm going to show you that the apple represents the toroidal electromagnetic field that contains our observable reality, and eating it means entering that field, drinking the Kool-Aid of physical existence, and becoming trapped in what I call apple-applied consciousness. First, let's consider the apple itself. Cut an apple vertically through the center. What shape do you see? A heart, a cardioid. This is the cross-section of a toroidal field, the electromagnetic structure that contains observable reality. The apple's three-dimensional form is a torus. The core at the center represents the axis mundi, the central axis connecting realms. The flesh surrounding it represents the field itself. This isn't coincidence. Ancient wisdom encoded electromagnetic cosmology into everyday symbols. The apple represents the containment structure, the field that projects what we call physical reality. Now, here's where it gets crazy. When Adam ate the apple, he didn't disobey a rule. He entered the torus. He consumed the physical form. He became identified with projection instead of remaining pure consciousness observing from the outside. Before eating the apple, Adam existed in what Genesis calls Eden, the God zone, the creation realm. This is pure consciousness, unified with source, existing outside the electromagnetic projection field. No duality, no separation, no identification with physical form. The serpent, which represents the electromagnetic field itself, the kundalini, the toroidal structure, offers a temptation. You will be like God, knowing good and evil, God and devil. You will have your own experience. You will have your own cardioid, your own meridian, your own personal reality geometry. You will know duality, the electromagnetic polarity of positive and negative, masculine and feminine, 3-phi and 2-phi. This is the offer of individual embodied existence. When Adam eats the apple, consciousness enters the field. And here's the trap. Once inside, he mistakes the projection for reality itself. He becomes identified with physical body. He starts thinking in mechanical terms, distances, positions, masses, forces. He's now operating in what I call apple-applied consciousness, using the torus field as if it's base reality, measuring reflections as if they're objects, treating projections as sources. He's drinking the Kool-Aid. He ate the apple. He believes the TV show is the studio. He's trapped inside the broadcast, thinking it's the source. This is what sin actually means. Not moral failure, but being inside the torus, separated from unity, identified with physical form instead of recognizing yourself as consciousness observing projection. The word sin in archery means missing the mark, aiming at the wrong target. When you're in sin, you're aiming at mechanical explanations when the target is electromagnetic truth. You're measuring your cardioid, your personal observer-dependent sun cycle, and thinking you're measuring an objective physical ball in space? You're applying the apple. You're using projection metrics to measure source. You're inside the mirror trying to calculate how far away the reflection is, not realizing you're measuring an illusion. And this is original sin. Everyone born into physical reality is already inside the apple at birth, already identified with body, already drinking the Kool-Aid of mechanical thinking. You don't have to do anything wrong. You're already in the trap by virtue. The virtue is being embodied. The ground is cursed, not because dirt is bad, but because physical reality becomes your prison when you believe it's the ultimate reality. You return to dust because you identified with matter, so you suffer with matter. You're trapped in the reincarnation cycle, repeatedly eating the apple, repeatedly entering the torus, repeatedly mistaking projection for source. Once you see this, you see it everywhere. Newton's apple falls on his head and he discovers gravity, mechanical force. But really, the apple trapped him in mechanical thinking. He ate the apple, adopted the mechanical worldview, and now sees the universe as billiard balls in space instead of electromagnetic fields interacting. Apple applied. Snow White eats the poison apple, falls into a death like sleep, unconscious to truth, trapped until true love's kiss awakens her. The apple puts you to sleep. Apple applied. Apple Inc., the technology company with the bitten apple logo. They're literally selling you the bite of the apple. Every device is deeper identification with projection. Every app is another application of the apple. Their operating system, iOS, inside operating system, you're inside the apple. More screen time equals more Taurus identification, more apple applied consciousness, deeper into sin. Even the phrase, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, surface level health advice. But hidden meaning? Keep eating the apple. Stay in physical identification. Believe body and health are paramount. Stay trapped in Taurus thinking. Don't wake up to consciousness reality. So how do you exit? How do you escape sin? Leave the apple, return to Eden. Jesus said, you must be born again, not physical rebirth, consciousness rebirth, outside the Taurus, recognition that you're watching projection, not living in base reality. Die to self, not literal death, but death of identification with physical body, death of mechanical worldview, death of the separate self inside the Taurus illusion. Be in the world, but not of it. Perfect instruction. You're still in the Taurus field while embodied. You can't physically leave, but you're not identified with it. You recognize its projection, broadcast, reflection. You're watching the TV show. You're not believing you're in the TV. The truth shall set you free. My favorite. And the truth is, physical reality is electromagnetic projection. Your consciousness observing your cardioid. Matter is processed waves through your antenna. The torus is a field, not reality itself. This truth frees you from identification with body, from mechanical thinking, from believing projection is source, from sin. The apple wasn't about disobedience. It was about entering physical reality and mistaking it for ultimate reality. That's the trap. That's sin. That's the apple. And we're all eating it until we recognize we're inside a projection, not experiencing objective truth. Stop applying the apple. Stop using projection metrics to measure source. Stop believing your cardioid is universal. Stop identifying with the electromagnetic field as if it's you. Spit out the apple. Exit the Kool-Aid. Wake up from the broadcast. You're not a body having a consciousness experience. You're a consciousness having a body experience. You're not in reality. You're observing a projection of reality through your personal electromagnetic geometry. The apple can be put down anytime you choose to recognize what it actually is.